I want to welcome everybody to the daily cheat sheet. Yeah, welcome. Thank you. Thank you for all the love and the support. You know, the reviews we've been picking up. Somebody gave us 2 stars. I'm just glad he didn't truly hate us. He just sort of liked us. And I want to say thank you to the person that followed us through Econ Chick on Truth Social. They've been a great help for us. So thank you. It means a lot. And I'm glad you're enjoying the podcast. You know, it's interesting because everything I always say is about numbers. This is something I learned from Ben Stein and Golan. When people look at the mess in Washington, you're talking about monstrous numbers. You're talking about 20,000, close to 20,000 employees at the FBI and so on and so forth. And when you look at the Department of Justice, right, which is the biggest attorney practice in the United States, they employ 10,000 lawyers. Now, I want you to think about something for a second. James Comey's daughter was one of them. Think about how many bad actors Pam Bondi has to get rid of and has to look at for anything to actually get done. That's why I keep on saying this isn't a 4-year deal. This is like there are people there that it reminds me of that scene from Air Force One. Remember, it's like, who are you aligned with? As the guy's like running out of jail, you know, you aligned with Kresnik or whatever his name was, and they shoot him down. And I'm not saying to shoot anybody down, but how many people are aligned with the former DOJ that's been there for so long?
This is, I've heard it called the monster of bureaucracy, which I really thought was an apt nickname. You're talking about, what was the number? How many employees does it have?
Over 10,000 employees.
That's insane. Now, 10,000, you're talking about 10,000 attorneys.
10,000 attorneys, yes.
10,000 attorneys, because I believe there's over 100,000 employees all over.
But there's
the
over
United States.
10,000 attorneys.
But 10,000 attorneys. So you're talking about many of them truly entrenched in this like DC swamp culture for decades. It's not like many of departments within the government where a new administration comes in, they clean house, they bring in their people, and then they're all working in tandem with one another. Many of these people have been there entrenched long before this president came into office and will remain, we'll see, long after he leaves office. But that has always been the case. And at a certain point, it's not public service so much as it is having a power cartel, because whoever can stay behind and has a certain ideology will work against whoever they disagree with and will work with whoever they agree with. And Pam Bondi right now is doing something that no AG has done, or at least has had the guts to do in decades, 50 years, maybe more, walking in and saying, if I see that you are part of the problem, then you're gone. And it's a true purge. And I think we can say that, you know, some people say, oh, this is a negative thing because you're getting rid of anyone who could oppose you. You know, they reference Lincoln having his, I don't remember what they call it, his union of people who disagreed with him. There was a certain phrase, it was the book was named after it. But ultimately what we're really talking about is accountability. And at the same time, if we can cut it down from 10,000 to a much more handleable number of people who are going to focus their energies where it needs to belong, then we can finally stop letting the old guard make decisions as opposed to the administration that we voted into office.
Listen, I think that's extremely well said. And man, obviously this is a huge number. Obviously a lot of them have been there for years. I don't know if there's a deep dive you could go to how many people have been working there for a certain amount of time. But a huge problem Trump will always have, Republicans will always have, is when you look at the District of Columbia, as we've brought up, 99% of the judges are on the left. It's very hard to find lawyers that are willing to sacrifice their future careers by working for a DOJ for 3.5 years where they might never get a job back. So there's like so many different levels to getting rid of this insidious deep state that's going on there.
Yeah, it's interesting that when Obama came into office, he did a slew of firings. So, you know, when Trump fires federal employees, the left goes crazy, but this is something that all administrations do. As far as federal judges, I mean, and federal prosecutors, I mean, you're talking about one is lots of people, but two, it's something that needs to be addressed. And it's something that the Democrats have been putting in place for years, for decades. They've been working on that, putting in low-level federal judges that eventually make it up to higher circuits, and then they're entrenched. So it's a problem that needs to be addressed.
I think this is a really good point, by the way, because yeah, I didn't even think about it until you said it, but you're right. Fired inspectors general, and it's inspectors general, correct? Or
Inspector
is it
generals.
inspector generals? Okay, all right. So he fired inspector generals. He swapped out U.S. attorneys. He dumped career officials. Anyone who wasn't on board with his policies. I didn't hear a word about it at the time. Like if I didn't do research into this for us to be able to have this conversation, I would never have even known that it happened because the press didn't say a word. There was never a headline about threat to democracy or anything else. Trump's doing the same thing where the Trump administration is, which every president's allowed to do, by the way. And suddenly they're making it sound like it's Watergate 2.0. Like this is all hair on fire, purge at the DOJ, authoritarian overreach. I mean, you're absolutely right. This is selective outrage.
Yeah, but Mend, again, your excellent point, both of you. The problem is going to be finding these lawyers. You could purge, but the hiring is going to be so difficult because, well, listen, we know people that work there. We know people that want to work there. There are not a lot of people that are willing to sacrifice, especially when you have projects and groups that dox lawyers that have supported Trump or worked for Trump, that literally just wanted to be a lawyer for Trump, and they were doxxed and had probably careers ruined. This is a big thing that people have to decide. Do I go for my country, or do I go for maybe never having a job again a day in my life?
Yeah, we saw our attorney here, my neighbor, got recruited to Washington. Good attorneys that align with conservative values are stepping up. So, I mean, it's also worth noting that this administration has one of the best teams in place from any administration I've seen. These guys are just like Trump 2.0. They're kicking ass and taking names. They are accomplishing so much that I think there are people that are stepping up, not afraid of the repercussions they might face if a new administration comes into play. So we're seeing it. We're seeing patriots step up and do the right thing.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point, by the way, Judah, that the left is weaponizing kind of this cancel culture to make working for Trump toxic. It's not the first time we've heard such a thing. And obviously that's by design. It's not just about punishing people. It's also about scaring off anybody who might join the team, which is why the only way to do this is not to go out there and cast a wide net and public job boards and ridiculous stuff like that. It's only through trusted networks. It's going to the Federalist Society events. It's going to conservative legal forums, seeing what lawyers we have guest on our program, because every single one seems to be appropriate for this sort of thing. But I think you're looking for people who are pro-business, pro-constitutionalist, retired prosecutors, military JAG officers, private sector litigators who aren't looking to go brown nose at a cocktail party in DC and care more about the mission than the resume or what's going to happen after the fact. I think those people are out there, and it's just a matter of going through personal networks to find them.
Okay, by the way, the reason I bring this up is because I see people wanting stuff done quicker. I see people wanting different types of cases adjudicated. And when you don't have that massive of a great team, as men said, they're exceptional. I don't know how many of the attorneys that have been retained are exceptional. You almost have to cherry pick the most important things. So, obviously the Russia collusion, obviously so much has to be looked into, the persecution and the prosecution of January 6th, and the list goes on, and the judges that went against Trump, and Letitia James, all these things go on. I think you have to pick what's most important to you.
I agree, but I also think that the blacklisting that the left does to people like this actually has the opposite effect. I think it creates a stronger bench because the ones who actually are willing to come in and step
Oh
forward
no,
know
100%.
exactly what they're getting into. And I think if you're going to be in Trump's DOJ in the year of our Lord 2025, you don't want lawyers worried about being canceled. You want lawyers who are going to frame that cancellation, hang it on the wall as proof that they fought for something real. And so all the stuff you're talking about is stuff that they should want to do. They should want to step up and take care of. And anyone who says yes to the job is probably the right person for the job as long as they're competent.
Well said, both of you. And again, I just brought this up because I see it's something that people talk about. I think it's something that people are confused about. Why are things not happening quicker? And I don't think they're both the same thing. Building a case and having a certain amount of lawyers always doesn't equate. I wanted to totally veer into a different avenue for a second. The Trump administration is debating changing the class of drug that marijuana, ganja, weed is a class that mend. And I got to tell you something, and this has nothing to do with me being sober. I've learned how to take myself out of the equation. I was never a pot smoker. I hated it. It made me paranoid and it made me hungry. Two things that are not good if you're a Jewish depressive with food disorders. But I'm not a huge fan of this permissiveness on the weed because we all know it's 60 times stronger than it was in 1963. This isn't your 1960 weed. We have a lot of people that are getting addicted to this stuff. And I don't think, I get it, we might want youth voters, but this is just not something I'm exactly into. That's just
Can
me.
I, before Mend, I'm going to let you answer. I just want to point out for our listeners what this actually means. He's talking about reclassifying marijuana from Schedule 1 drug to a Schedule 3 drug. Is that correct, Judah? Did I get that right?
Yes.
1 to 3. So 1 is like heroin and LSD, and Schedule 3 is still an illegal drug. So he's not legalizing pot federally, but it would expand its ability to be used in medical research. It would cut the penalties down. It would, frankly, ease tax burdens for some of the businesses. Now, as someone who doesn't smoke pot and has never really enjoyed the couple of times I've tried it, it means nothing to me, except I do feel like there is some legitimacy to the reasoning behind it. So anyway, that's it. I just wanted to point that out for our listeners to understand. Mend, sorry to interrupt. Continue.
No, you're absolutely correct. So he's not delisting
He's
it,
not
which is
criminal.
like,
He's not right. It's still criminal, but it goes from a 1 to a 3. It's
so
not
first
on
of
the
all,
scale of
having it
heroin.
as a Schedule 1 in the same category as heroin and fentanyl is asinine. It makes no sense. Marijuana it actually does the opposite. What it does is it tells kids, hey, this is also one of the most dangerous drugs in the world. Then they see someone trying it. It's no big deal. Then they go, what else have they lied to me about? And then they might try coke and heroin and something else.
It's an interesting
That's number
perspective.
one. Number two is it's
Yeah,
less
that's what
dangerous.
kids are thinking. But go on.
It's way less dangerous than alcohol, and alcohol is legal. And number three, getting rid of some of the stigma or regulation around it will allow for legal banking to come into play. The marijuana industry is a huge industry, and they don't have the ability to use regular banking. So there's this whole shadow banking thing going on where they have guys with guns and Brinks trucks running around with cash everywhere. Makes no sense. It is not a dangerous drug. Yes, it's stronger than it
You're
was.
so incorrect about
It is
this.
stronger than, hey, I'm the one here out of the three that consumes tons of it. So I think I know a little bit more.
I'm the one out of the 3 that had to work that's worked in rehab that saw the effects that actual marijuana does to people that are 18 and 17 years old and 16 years old. And forget about the whole gateway thing. It's
So the
again,
gateway thing, I think, is because they've aligned it with heroin and cocaine. It is nothing like heroin and cocaine. That's why it's a gateway drug. People say, "Oh, you lied to me about this. What else have you lied to me about?" That's where the gateway comes from. Number
again,
two
you're
is,
giving way too much credit to 16-year-olds saying you lied to me about weed. Now I'm going to go on oxymoron.com and buy it illegally and go get fentanyl poisoning.
I know anecdotal evidence. I know a lot of people who actually use that reasoning to try other drugs. It was when you hear that marijuana is as bad as cocaine and you live in Brooklyn and there's tons of Jamaicans smoking marijuana all the time and you see they're happy and fun and they're not dying and they're not crack addicts, then, so kids tend to try it and then they try something else. Anyway, I don't even want to argue that. I think there's enough evidence of that out there that we don't need to argue that part. But I think the part of Are there kids that have bipolar disorders, other mental issues that are exacerbated or that comes out when they try marijuana? Absolutely. Can you physically get addicted to marijuana? Physically? No, you cannot.
Yes, you
Can you
can.
emotionally get addicted to it? Can you lean on it as a crutch? Absolutely.
100%. They've proven that it's 100% a drug that you could get addicted to. There's a difference between the Jamaicans you were smoking weed with on the street in Brooklyn 36 years ago and when it wasn't as synthesized as it is in a lab now.
Look, there's no question that, as someone who doesn't smoke it, but is at least aware of it, that pot today is on a different level than what pot used to be. That's definitely true. Look, I look at it from a different perspective because I'm a veteran and I know a lot of people who have PTSD or
Very
have pain
different.
from the military. For me, that's where this becomes more of an interesting concept because it makes it easier for VA doctors to recommend marijuana or cannabis, whatever you want to call it, for those issues without navigating Schedule 1 restrictions.
And
To
medical
me,
research. I mean,
that
there's so
makes sense. The
much.
medical
But
research is the
by the
other
way,
part of it,
those
too.
are two totally, you're talking about something totally different that I agree with you 100% on. Obviously, one of the effects, the reason they give it to cancer patients is because when you're on chemotherapy, you lose your appetite, right? So one of the great side effects of weed, like I said, is gaining an appetite. So I am all for if you have cancer or any sort of.
I think we could all agree that having marijuana labeled as a Schedule 1 drug, the same as heroin and fentanyl, is asinine. It makes no sense. They should undo that. At the
I don't
very
think we
least,
all agree
undo
on
that.
that. I don't think we all agree on that. I think we could disagree on
You think
that.
it's just as dangerous as fentanyl and heroin
I
and
think
cocaine?
a drug is a drug is a drug to every different person.
I'll
That's
tell
the
you the
one thing.
saddest part of the whole thing, and this is really sad, is that years ago, when certain states started legalizing marijuana, I bought a bunch of pot stocks, a bunch of ETFs in the pot market, and I lost a lot of money on it. And finally, years later, I said, enough is enough. I sold it all. I took a big loss. It's really the only stock purchase I've ever taken a loss on. And when Trump made this announcement, the stock, all the ETFs jumped 25% up. That's really what we all should take away, is the sad story of me not making money off of this.
100%. And listen, I think this is one of those issues that needs to be discussed. Moving forward, I don't necessarily 100% disagree with Mend on this. I truly do not. I just think there's a lot of cause and effect, and I think again, when I'm looking out for the children or teenagers, and I look at the levels of where it is right now compared to where it was 30 years ago, you do sometimes need to take a step back. That's all. That's my thing on this. That it's not as clean cut. You're not talking about 1969 Woodstock weed, okay? You're talking about some serious stuff. But let's move on. This is exciting. You know, it's interesting. There's a Democratic whistleblower who came out and said that Adam Schiff, right, targeted Trump. You know, Adam Schiff said go after Trump with false information. And again, I have this fear, and I know that Adam Schiff will not face any repercussions. This is in 2023 go on, and he approved classified leaks of Donald Trump.
We're seeing this over and over again, by the way. We've seen now, I don't know if they classified it as a whistleblower, but that talked about Hillary doing this, that talked about Obama doing this, now that talked about Adam Schiff doing this. All these, it's not political gamesmanship. Some people have chalked it up to, hey, them's politics, baby, but that's not. That's weaponizing national security, and it's a different thing. And when an insider comes forward, someone who supposedly was in the room, who says that Schiff said leaks would be used to specifically, quote, indict President Trump, that's not oversight. It's not accidental. That's straight up political sabotage. So for there to be no repercussions seems bizarre to me, because it's such a blatant misuse of power, with now a whistleblower that is willing to come forward and say, I was in the room when it happened and I'm willing to testify about it. This feels like there must be repercussions, or else this will just keep happening.
Yeah, man, the whistleblower worked for Schiff for over 10 years. And according to the report, the intelligence staffer called the leaking treasonous and illegal In addition to being unethical, he was most recently interviewed by the FBI in 2023. Staffer also said he personally attended a meeting where Schiff greenlit the leak. When working in this capacity, he was called on to an all-staff meeting by Schiff. The documents state, per Just News, in the meeting, Schiff stated the group would leak classified information which was derogatory towards Trump. Schiff stated the information would be used to indict him.
Yeah, I mean, they call him Shifty Schiff. So this is the same guy that claimed that he saw firsthand the evidence of Russia collusion, and it's there, and it is real, and he can't tell you what he saw, but he saw it. He's a liar. He lied to the American people. He lied for political gain. He used his position of power as a weapon against a political opponent. I hope they do go after him. I hope they don't go easy on him this time. I think the Justice Department will go after him, and they'll get him on whatever they can. If it's just the mortgage fraud thing, then get him on it.
And this, by the way, is not a partisan person who is coming forward, not someone who is looking to
it's a
punish
Democrat.
An opposition. Like you said, it's a Democrat. It's not just a Democrat, someone who worked, like you said, for him for 10 years. It's someone who was a loyalist. And the reason he came forward, by the way, he didn't just come forward now. He went to the FBI in 2017 with these allegations and said at the time, I am coming forward because I work with these people. I'm friends with Devin Nunes. I'm friends with Schiff. I'm friends with everybody, but I cannot stand by. And this is his quotes: unethical, illegal, and treasonous acts are being perpetrated. So this is a guy who is really an upstanding citizen, whether we like Trump, dislike Trump, like Schiff, dislike Schiff. This is a guy who is willing to stand up and say, my own party is wrong here. This person that I work with, my friend, is wrong here. And I have to come forward because I'm an American and it matters. And they were just swept under the rug until Kash Patel grabbed this stuff, picked it up, and now released the documents to Congress. It's kind of shocking to if you really think about it, we are in 2025. That is 8 years after this person came forward. This isn't something that just happened and now we'll see what happens. Yeah. It's crazy.
Now, listen, you bring up a great point, and I love the fact that you bring up he's an American. Let's take the party away from who he is. This reminds me, listen, I hate the term whistleblower. It's like a step above sort of like a rat.
Snitch.
And or snitch or whatever you want to call it. And this person just saw this illegal crap that Schiff was trying to, and really risked his career. And like I've brought up before, there needs to be a whistleblower fund. People like this will have an extremely hard time getting a job afterwards. This is not an easy thing to do. They put their families' lives at risks. This is a heroic act, and Schiff just gets to keep on walking around. There has to come a time where people like Schiff and Kinzinger and Liz Cheney have to pay for their lying sins.
Again, I hope so. I mean, the fact that this guy's coming forward, a man or a girl or whoever it is, they're a patriot. I mean, that's what you do. When you see, tyranny, you see a miscarriage of justice taking place under your watch, or you have the ability to expose it, you do it. So he came forward, or she came forward, whoever they are came forward. Good for them. We need more of that. We need a lot of that. To have a healthy government, you need to have oversight, and you need to have transparency, and you need to have whistleblowers.
Men keep saying that whoever they are, it's important for our listeners to understand this person's identity is being kept under wraps. That the identity of the whistleblower is anonymous, but that doesn't mean it's anonymous to the people who are being accused. It's almost impossible for Schiff not to know which former staffer went to the FBI. This is someone we know worked directly under Schiff on the House Intelligence Committee for more than a decade. This isn't some anonymous outside source. This is someone who he interacted with regularly. There's no way there aren't going to be repercussions. So to Judah's point, this is someone who made a decision despite what might happen to them because they knew they had to do the right thing.
This is an important issue, and it's something that frustrates Republicans to no end. It's something that, the lawfare that was used, the lies that were used, and what happens? These people get jobs on MSNBC when they're done. They get or in Schiff's case, you crap upwards and become a senator of California. And it's maddening to people, But again, this is why this is always why I get upset, especially when we were talking and men, on Friday we were talking and you said you understand what we're saying. This is why I'm very big into staying on focus, goal on, and realizing that we need to have 12 years to clean up this stuff. We have to get rid of the little crappy stuff that we argue about that the left would never, and get together and say, what is the most important thing? And that's why I was saying with the Pam Bondi thing, what are the most important cases that need to be worked on? Not what are the ones that we want because we want them, because it'll make us, yes, 2020, we want adjudicated, but that's a little bit lower on my list since he won. I got to be honest.
People don't realize how long this sort of thing takes. It's not that you may have noticed by now, if you're really paying attention, you may have noticed that Trump wanted to do certain things. Okay, I'm going to fire these people. They're not doing their jobs properly, or whatever it might happen to be. And everyone goes crazy. Oh my God, he's firing everybody. Lawsuits, lawsuits, lawsuits. Some of these corrupt judges or some of these partisan judges make decisions to kill it. So even just firing people takes forever, which is why it takes such a long time to drain the swamp. You can't drain it in 4. You can't drain it in 8. I'm with Judah. I think 12 is even optimistic because Washington is a self-healing organism. Every time you cut off one tentacle, 3 more grow back, and each one has a law degree and a pension plan. So this is something where constantly you are having to continue to hack away. It's like I just watched Cinderella again with my daughter, and the prince is cutting off the thorny branches, and every time he does, 3 more thorny branches grow. That's what it feels like. Is you're constantly hacking away at what feels like a never-ending, just a group of generals and bureaucrats and lifetime staffers and nonpartisan lawyers who have been through 6 administrations, and every loophole sets you back and every back channel sets you back, and you're slow rolling your way through trying to clean the whole thing up. It takes a long time.
It's interesting that Trump 1.0 tried to do some of that, right? He ran on draining the swamp and all of that, but there were also so many grifters that attached themselves to Trump 1.0 that it made it really difficult to accomplish a lot of those stated goals that they wanted to accomplish. Trump 2.0, I'm not seeing a lot of that. I think we still need to be vigilant about that and make sure that there aren't people that are attaching themselves just for grift, but I think they're doing a lot better job this time around, actually cutting the fat, actually getting rid of a lot of the bloat in Washington and draining that swamp a little bit. But yeah, it's going to take a while. As we've seen, Democrats have been so entrenched. You look at programs like USAID that gave away grants, primarily 90-something% of it went to super left-leaning NGOs. So just getting there and figuring these things out like Elon and Team Doge did, where they went in, it's like, the first time they went in, they're like, where do we start? The second time they went in, it was looking, just follow the money. Where's it all going? Explain it. And these people could not explain it. I think the head of USAID resigned, right? Wasn't that when they came in and just refused to hand over documents and then resigned? There was so much corruption, but they're going after them and they are getting these people. So good on them.
Yeah, but look what just happened. August 1st, Trump fired, I think it was August 1st, Trump fired the Bureau of Labor Statistics Commissioner, Erica McIntarfer, right? I love saying that name, McIntarfer. It just fired her because the numbers were constantly, Erica McIntarfer. So this is the woman whose job it was to say, here are the job numbers. And she would be giving these job numbers. She was already around. She was part of the Democratic team prior. And every time Biden's numbers would come in, they'd be like, oh my God, it's explosive. And then they would be rejiggered down. And over again, that was happening, these downward revisions. So then the same thing. And Trump came in and the numbers were always bad and they were rejiggered up and rejiggered down and they were constantly wrong. And now Trump's claim that she manipulated the numbers to make him and the Republicans look bad may be true, may not be true, but she was bad at her job. I don't care about the partisan side. Every time she gave us numbers, they were wrong. So he fired her because her whole job is to give us numbers. And it has been a firestorm since that day. It's been weeks of them going, these partisan things. Now he's going to install someone who's going to salute to him like a king. And, and it's not her job. You're firing the messenger. And all I've been reading and hearing about with this is one person he's trying to fire who was bad at her job. Now, imagine if you're going after people who are really good at their job, but super partisan and corrupt. Even harder. So I think it is something that we will continue to see him have to hack away at over and over again, because every time it happens, I hear something in the news about it.
It's there are people on the other side of the aisle that are just hysterical at everything the man does. Can't do anything right. We get trade deals, it's terrible. He starts a trade war, it's terrible. There's no winning with them. So there's always going to be something. And I see some claims that are just so off the wall. Like, they're coming for my civil rights, my civil liberties. Like, what are you talking about? Where? How?
No,
Deporting
listen,
illegal.
you're 100% right. A friend of mine was telling me last week that one of the people he works with was, who's gay, was saying, Trump's coming for my civil rights. And I said to my friend, because a lot of people don't know this, because the Trump administration doesn't advertise the race, gender, private lives of who they employ. But Bessent is gay, the head of the Treasury, with a child. He's married with a child. And my friend's like, oh, really? And I was like, yeah, give that as a talking point, because I don't think Besson would be working for the president if he was coming after his civil rights men.
Yeah, same thing. I have a gay friend who just posted or said that they're coming for his gay marriage rights. Where are they getting this stuff from? This administration is one of the most diverse administrations, but since everybody was hired on merit, they're not out there touting what color or gender everybody is. You don't need to. It's we got the best person for the job, period. Not I am going to hire a black chief justice as Biden did. When you do that,
Or a
Black
black vice
female.
president. Or a black
female, she
female
can't
vice
even find a
president.
female, but she was picked because she's a female. The whole thing made no sense. But when you do that, what you're really doing is that you're diminishing the merit, the quality of the candidate you're getting. So even if you got the best candidate, but you stated that you're hiring them because she's a black female trans activist, whatever, it's no longer merit. Now it's this person was a DEI hire, and forever they're going to be running around with that stigma that they were a DEI hire and not based on merit. So you're actually doing a disservice by going out there and making these ridiculous statements that you're going to hire the most marginalized person to fill a role and not the best person to fill that role.
And it's really interesting because, as we talked about in yesterday's show, people love to read the headlines without reading the whole article, right? Or they get the highlights. Rick Grinnell, right? Who it's by the way, Trump is the first Republican president to appoint an openly gay cabinet level official.
Take
Just
it a
put
step
that.
back, by the way. The first
Yeah,
person to actually have a gay speaker at the RNC, which was Peter Thiel. So
correct. And I quote, in 2016, Trump said, "I will do everything in my power to protect our LGBTQ citizens." Right? I mean, he said these words. But Grinnell is interesting because he not only served as an ambassador to Germany, but he also ran the office of the director of national intelligence. Right? So this is just a guy who was overseeing the CIA, the NSA, all of it. Right? That's real trust. Okay. Here's the interesting part. Did anybody from the gay community who is hyperbolically hyperventilating about Trump taking away their rights know that Rick Grinnell also launched the first global campaign to decriminalize homosexuality, specifically aimed at countries that still jail or execute gay people? And I think we all know who we're talking about here. Left should have been doing cartwheels over that. But I didn't hear a word about it. Again, if I hadn't done research, because we do this for a living, I would never have even known. And why was it silent? Because Trump's name was on it. So this is the kind of thing where if you're reading the headline but not the article, you have no idea this even existed, because the headlines are never going to mention it. They're just looking to make him a villain, and that's it.
well, you're 100% correct and well said. And man, there's a meme going around of the 4 women with extremely powerful positions that Trump hired, not because they're women, just because they're exceptional at their jobs, which is Pam Bondi, Tulsi Gabbard, and I can't remember, Chrissy Nome, and it was one other. And I said this when I had written an article about this years ago. I wasn't a huge fan of Sarah Palin, but she broke the myth that the great feminist lie that you can't have it all. She was married, children, and had a big position. And these women when women, especially conservative women, are successful, it is so damaging mentally to so many women on the left in our country who have been taught you can't have everything.
Again, this administration, I would say, is one of the most diverse administrations without even trying to be diverse.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Right? So they are hiring the best people. You talk about Kristi Noem and Pam Bondi. They're not there because they're females. They're there because they're excellent at their jobs. They're doing fantastic work. They happen to be females, which is so much more empowering to any female out there.
100% agree with you. 100%.
You see people like this that have earned it. They got there because of their talent and merit. And now they're in that position and they're killing it. They're doing fantastic work.
And Levitt, let's not forget Levitt. And
she's only 26 years old. It's amazing.
It's amazing, and it's the great Trump lie. Again, a guy that on the biggest job he had of renovating, of building a building, and I can't remember which building it was. The foreman was a woman, and so. Another great lie, but I want to move on quickly to two last subjects. First, Golan, thank you for... I got so confused by that WhatsApp message yesterday because it came from a different account, and, it was showing that Grok got suspended, which is such a fascinating thing. Like, what did Grok say?
Yeah, wait, got suspended where? That's important.
On X, obviously.
On X.
Well, where
Grok,
else?
Which is Elon Musk's AI, got suspended on X, Elon Musk's social media app. Sorry, I needed that to be clear for the record. Continue.
I'm done. No, I was going to you about it. I have no idea what...
I think this is, look, on one hand, it's a little frightening that Grok is going so far into Mecha Hitler territory and talking about genocide and all the rest that it literally violated X's own tenets. So it got cut off because of the algorithm, not because somebody was like, I think Grok's going too far, I'm going to hit the button. Grok just started saying stuff that was off the rails. And for about 20 minutes, talking about genocide in Gaza, talking about the ICJ, talking about UN, talking about Amnesty International, talking about B'Tselem. For those of you who don't know, every group I just mentioned, from the ICJ to the UN to Amnesty International to B'Tselem, are all anti-Israel, anti-Semitic groups, some of which have this veneer of legitimacy on them, like Amnesty International, but it is as corrupt as anybody. And if you're not sure about that, feel free to check out my episode on Jew Can't Handle the Truth called Corrupt NGOs.
Man, let me ask you a question. And I'm being serious. You're the tech wizard. If Grok can't be trusted on X, if you're a former Tesla owner, I got to be honest with you. If you can't be trusted just for simple posts and checkups, like in checking, would you get in a car with Grok 4.0? I'm being honest with you, as being this self-driving car. All of a sudden, man, you'll end up in one of the worst Jew-hating neighborhoods in America. They're gonna put you I don't know where that is, but yeah.
Here's where the panic and fear-mongering comes in. So you see a lot of people making statements like that. And I also heard...
No, I asked. I wasn't making a statement.
Okay, yeah, you're asking. But I've heard other people make statements. I was listening to Joe Rogan a couple of weeks ago, and he was, going off on AI data centers are now plugging into nuclear reactors. And he goes, oh, this is, the end of the world. The AI is just going to take that reactor and blow everything up and kill everybody, or if they want to. There's a separation. Putting Grok in the car is just going to be like having Siri on your phone. It's not going to be driving your car. It's just going to be a thing that's there that you could talk to, that will give you some answers.
Quite the conversations.
Yeah. It'll be interesting and funny. The same thing with the AI data centers. What they're doing is they're plugging into those data to nuclear, the building data centers next to nuclear reactors to get unlimited cheap energy. It's not that the AI is going to be running the nuclear reactor.
That wasn't what I asked you.
I'm raising my hand because I want to refute what you're saying, man.
Okay, but let me get 1 second.
Golan's got something.
But Golan, let me just, because he didn't.
Go ahead, Judah, and then I'll jump.
He didn't answer my question. He made one of those accusations because I was simply.
No, it's not an accusation. What I'm saying, it's not an accusation. What I'm saying is that, putting Grok in the car, I don't think it's going to be Grok running the Tesla. It's going to be a feature in Tesla that you could push a button and talk to Grok, and Grok will give you its crazy answers. Okay, that's fine. I
Okay,
don't have a problem with that. I love the
Grok,
Teslas.
Grok, take me to a safe neighborhood.
Right. And it might take you to a Pally protest.
That's on.
So the problem is that you're talking about the current model as it exists within X as its like built-in chatbot. That's
Right.
not what we're talking about. Okay. I'm just going to use the one that I happen to know a lot about, which is the Israeli army right now is using an AI-powered database that lists thousands of and tens of thousands of individuals. I think it's up to 40,000, something like that, as potential targets that are part of Hamas or Islamic Jihad or whatever terrorist group it happens to be. The actual AI cross-reference, I won't get too into the weeds. I don't want to get too wonky with this, but I want you to understand. Right now, this is happening. It cross-references behavioral and communication data to suggest human targets for analysts, which can be low-ranking operatives, by the way, because they're trusting the AI, and that can significantly accelerate target generation. So that is the current AI. That's called Lavender. There are other ones. There's Gospel and other ones as well. But if Grok is being used, Grok for government is different than Grok, okay? And if Grok on its base level is having these problems, Grok for government is potentially, at least in the announcement, going to be used for defense and intelligence analysis. And what that means is it could, if there are problems, if it screws up, if it makes incorrect or biased conclusions, that could affect faulty targeting. It could be faulty mission planning. It could be misinformation in real time, feeding wrong data to commanders that could derail operations. It could be data leaks if the AI is mishandling classified information, and that is absolutely possible. There could be political and diplomatic fallout. There could be legal and contractual consequences, which we've seen already happen with the Israeli army, where they are saying, now we're going to sue you because you used the AI and it did a behavioral pattern and it was wrong. And we see tech and operational fallouts. There's a lot of stuff that could go wrong that is actually a lot more than chatting and taking you to a pro-Pally rally or giving you the wrong directions on Google Maps. This is not the same thing. This is the hair on fire moment prior to Skynet taking over, okay? And so this is why all those people who are now actually part owners.
Good Terminator reference.
Thank you very much. But by the way, all these people, including Elon Musk and others who now own these AI bots or AI models, are the ones who were also warning against it for a long time. And then they saw that, oh, it's inevitable. Someone's got to make the money. So here we go. I think we shouldn't be saying what about it. I think we have to be paying attention to it. And we have to be watching it like a hawk, because the minute we hand over the controls to AI, it does mean that we lose control.
All right, let me just rephrase a little bit. And what I'm going to say is putting Grok into a Tesla is no big deal. Having AI data centers powered by nuclear reactors, again, no big deal. Overall, is going down the path of general artificial intelligence a good idea? I think it's a terrible idea. I think then once
How come you wouldn't start with that, jackass? You couldn't just start with that and say you think this is a horrific idea. You have to go into, well, in the Tesla, it wouldn't be so bad. Look, Rogan brought it up.
To your question, am I afraid to drive a Tesla with Grok in it? No. Am I afraid of AI? Absolutely. I think once we have the robots and they're building these humanoid robots and the dog robots and that could carry guns,
all the Black Mirror
those two, AI with robots with guns, we're done. We're cooked, as the kids say.
Two quick things. You have a person go on, a councilman, I guess, or whatever he is in the District of Columbia, who said, this is going to cause a lot of friction. A councilman, there'll be flare-ups between residents and federal officers. And all I could think about is there are going to be flare-ups in D.C. I mean, what more flare-ups can you possibly ask for?
When you have a 2% gun arrest rate or retention rate, when you have the kind of crime skyrocketing in DC, this is what you're worried about? I mean, we talked about it yesterday. We don't have to get into all the numbers again, but it's almost silly. It's like the guy who's like, I need 2 Big Macs, I need 3 fried chickens, and a Diet Coke. It's like, you've already gone past the Rubicon. Go ahead and have the full sugar Coke. Like, this guy saying that is just grasping at straws, trying to find a reason to say no. It's ridiculous.
It's like Crockett claiming it's all racism. Gerrymandering has to do with racism. Men, the last thing I'll go to you on is my favorite entertainer, Candace Owens, is complaining that they're coming after a mother in her basement. And you should have seen, and this is Macron and his wife, and the comments against Candace Owens in her section were like, now you're the victim. And it's really important to note that her father-in-law is a lord in the UK, Lord Farmer, whose responsibility is Jewish and Christian outreach. And this thing that you cannot say whatever you want online. It's not, you could say what you want, but there are going to be repercussions. Look no further than Alex Jones. I don't agree that Alex Jones should have had to pay that money out, but I do agree that something else might have should have happened. But Candace Owens, you say these things with absolutely baseless things to get clicks. This is what happens.
All right. So first, I'd like to go back to the Washington story we talked about a minute ago. I saw a representative from Washington state that the most dangerous day in Washington's history was January 6th. And my response to that was January 6th had one person killed, Ashley Bobbitt, by a Capitol police officer, while in your city, there's 250 murders every year. I mean, you guys are just a murder capital. So it's asinine what they're saying. It's actually hilarious. As far as what Judah just brought up, Candace Owens. So, I mean, her trying to play the victim is kind of funny. I think she dug herself into a hole she can't get out of. I mean, she's actually going to have to defend this defamation suit against the Macron family. Not that I'm, fans of Macron's. I'm sitting back and watching this, and
Yeah, right. It's like, who do you like the least?
It's hilarious. It's
But
grab
it
the
is
popcorn.
so, I mean, the whole thing is so silly. Like, we can dislike Macron and also recognize that Candace Owens is a giant piece of shit. And now her lighting her kitchen on fire and then screaming about how the fire department is oppressing her. What do you want me to do? Like, play a violin? I'm sorry. This is peak performative martyrdom. Just F you, Candace Owens. Go away.
Her father-in-law has denounced her anti-Semitism. He actually came out against it. Her husband is best friends with Andrew Tate, which may explain a lot of the weird turn that she took after marrying this guy.
I didn't either.
Thank you for the for that information.
So I think she met the guy, and then within 2 weeks they got engaged, and it's a weird story. It's a little cultish. And then she takes this weird turn. Andrew Tate converted to Islam. I mean, he's a piece of work himself. So let's see. Let's hope.
Yeah,
that
so
this
did
is
that
the
guy
demise.
Jackson Hinkle, by the way. He's also one of these whack jobs on X that converted to Islam. And I can't tell. Did he do it for the money? Like what are you doing?
It's almost amazing. It's like, did you do it for the money, or did you just hate Jews so much you had to try Islam? Like, it's so weird.
No. It defies all logic. This everything we're talking about really defies logic when it comes to this social media world. And
is Hinkle an American?
Is he an American? I thought he was.
I thought he was too.
Yeah, I could have sworn.
How is it that he is not arrested for aiding and abetting terrorism? Like, that guy literally traveled to Hezbollah headquarters in Lebanon. He went to Iran. He's on the wrong side of everything.
Yeah, it's putting it mild.
I looked it up. He's American, born
There's
in California.
There's the wrong side goal on of everything, like Tucker Carlson, and then there's Jackson Hinkle. There's
Tucker actually had him on.
Oh, he did?
Tucker gave him a platform a while ago, but
of course he did.
I'm shocked to hear that. And on that note, let's. There are consequences to clickbaiters, and there are consequences to these media personalities. And I would love if they actually came out with statistics of who listens to who. And that's something they haven't done very well in the podcast world yet, Golan, because with radio, with terrestrial radio, you could actually, you could actually see the same people that listen to Levin, listen to Hannity, listen to so on and so forth. And we know how many listeners they have a week. I'd actually be interested to see if it's the same people that are listening on loop in their basements to Bannon, Alex Jones, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson. Like the same 3 or 4 million people are just constantly listening to these people. And then at night to celebrate, they listen to like Tim Pool. But it's quite the quite. I got you have one more second. I just got to tell you something, Golan. I bring this up to you because you're in the industry and in the movie industry, writing a script, sold. So you're just a major baller, and you're a big macha. And I've run out of stuff to watch, and we're talking about DEI, and the only really safe space as far as non-DEI networks that you could almost always count on is Paramount Plus, right? And
Is which one?
Paramount Plus.
Paramount Plus, which is Taylor Sheridan,
it's basically just Taylor Sheridan.
It's the Taylor Sheridan network. And Golan, I decided to watch.
UFC.
Sorry,
did you hear that?
Oh, that was a huge deal. You're right. That $7.7 billion for Dana White. Good for him.
Fantastic. And now all the UFC games are going to be shows, whatever fights are going to be live streamed on Paramount Plus. You don't have to pay for that paid subscription.
It just goes to show you the cream rises to the top when you're honest, like Dana White. Eventually the pendulum shifts. But go on, watching Dexter Resurrection, and it might as well just been like Dexter DEI cast. It is the most unwatchable episodes I have ever seen in my life, with people hired with absolutely zero talent. I encourage everybody not to watch this show go on, but if you want to watch it just so you could see I'm wrong, but there is a shift going on. So just so people understand, I'm trying to bring good news and say there is a paradigm shift. And when you see Dana White getting $7.7 billion, when you see Taylor Sheridan being given the ranch, literally in his case, Golan, it's good stuff.
Look, I watch everything. I try to avoid the unapologetically woke stuff, but I watch everything for my job, and I'm a huge Paramount Plus fan, and I love the Skydance has taken over, and you know, some of the people that I'm actually trying to do a deal with them right now, and God willing that comes through, and then you'll have even better entertainment.
Just don't watch Dexter Resurrection. On that note, I want to thank everybody that's been downloading us, and remind everybody to subscribe to us on Apple. Just hit the automatic download. Spotify, the same thing. Go to the Daily Cheat Sheet on Substack, on YouTube, and on Rumble. Getting a lot of Rumble love. Rumble love is driving me mad. It's driving me crazy. And you can find us on Instagram. And, of course, you can find us on X. This is the only place you can't find us on the Daily Cheat Sheet, at TD Cheat Sheet. And, of course, our favorite, True Social. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you to everybody at True Social. I want to wish everybody a good morning, afternoon, and night world, wherever you are. God bless you all.